Hello everybody, welcome to this video. Today we're gonna see how to deploy MySQL InnoDB Cluster very quickly in OCI. So first, MySQL InnoDB Cluster, what it is. MySQL InnoDB Cluster, it's a HA solution for MySQL, and that is made by MySQL, tested by MySQL. It's all single product with three different components: MySQL Server, MySQL Shell, MySQL Router, all integrated together to provide you this HA solution that has fault tolerance, automatic failover. You can have active members if you want. You can also do membership via the shell, but also automatic. If there is an issue, nodes will be added or removed. It also handles network partitions, failures, etc., etc. It has conflict detection and resolution included. It prevents data loss, which is very important, and it is completely GPL. So let's see now. You need, of course, to use MySQL InnoDB Cluster in OCI. You need to have an OCI account. There are some free tier. There is a link here, or you can test OCI. So please go check later. And let's see now here. When you have your account, this is what you have here. This is OCI. You go in Resource Manager, Stacks. It's maybe a bit small for reading. So Resource Manager, Stack, and you can here create a new stack. So we will create a stack. And we can add a zip file here containing all what we need. This zip file, can be downloaded on GitHub here. So on my GitHub, LeFred, OCI, and MySQL IDC, you go to Releases, and you see there is a file stack mysql idc.zip that you need to download. Let's save it. Now that we have it, we go here, we paste the zip file here. There is a name optional, if not, it use one. There is some description if you want extra. I won't change that. Which compartment you want, Terraform, next. So I need to have a cluster admin password. So let's create one. Which node shape you want for your router and for your server, and I will use VM standard E21. Then you can have here user OCID, all optional that you don't need here. The amount of node. So if you want completely automated failover and fault tolerance and really HA, all automated, the amount of node minimal, it's 3. So I will put 3 here, and a name for your cluster, which is cluster, my cluster. So it's good. I will do next, and I will create it. So now it created this stack. The stack is created. We can see it here. And I will go here in the Terraform action I can do. And let's see a plan. See, oh, show me what can be done. Which resources are you gonna create or change, and so on. So we have this information here in the plan. It takes some time to do. We can see the log almost in real time. And you have also variables if you want to verify which variables we changed and what were their value. So you can see here, let me see down here. So we can browse there and see all the resources that the system, the stack will create, like the subnets, the firewalls rules, what we call security list, the keys to connect, installing everything, deploying everything, so all it's here. So when it's okay, we see that the state here, it succeeded. So it means that, okay, there is a plan and the plan should succeed it without any problem. So now we do, okay, let's apply that plan. So we do apply. So now it will create all these resources that are required. So like I said, a VCN, a private subnet, a public subnet, and so on. Because what we are trying to achieve now is this. So this is what we will try, or that we will deploy now in OCI. So we will have a full VCN. So with here you can see 10.0.0.0.16. Inside of it we will have two different subnets. One here which is public subnet and a private subnet, right? Private subnet means that the machines that we will put in the private subnet won't be accessible directly from the internet. So we will not be able to add them a public IP to them. And the bastion host that has a router and so on, where we will be able to connect using SSH or so on there directly. So here, and it is a public subnet, and you can see they are all in one availability domain, but in three different fault domain, like you can see here. So while he's doing this, we can go and see here in our compute instances what's happening. And we can see that the shell bastion is being provisioned by the system and that it will be installed. So, and it has already a public IP that is assigned to it. Let me put it a bit bigger. We can go back to the stack. So this is always in resource manager stacks. So we see our stack is here, IDC, the one I created, and the jobs, the plan what succeeded, this one, it's applying, and we can see what is it doing. So it's still creating the shell, so it's the bastion where we're going to install MySQL shell to provision everything and orchestrate everything. We can always see what kind of variable we had. So this is so far easy. And of course, this takes some time. You can see the time already spent creating this. We can't always go back to see in the instances what's going on. So now it's running. So what is it doing now? It's installing everything it needs in it. You see, it finished the installation of it, and now it's creating three different compute instances that will be the three nodes in our cluster. So let's go back in Resource Manager, Stacks. And we can see it's still in progress, of course. So shell was installed, we can see that in the log. And now we can see it's also creating, so first deploying the VMs or the instances, and then install what you need in the InnoDB cluster machine. So for the shell, we could see that it took 2 minutes to install and deploy everything it needs and install all he needed, and now it's doing the InnoDB cluster. So far it's very easy. We just had to create a stack, copy, let's say drop a zip file into it, add a password and deploy it. So this was quite very easy. Now it's just a bit of patience to deploy all that. We took good shapes, so you can see it's still creating, and like I said, always possible to see here in the instances. So now they are running, meaning they have been the compute instance has been provisioned, so OS it's installed, all that it's there, and now we need to of course install all what we need to do MySQL InnoDB cluster, meaning install MySQL server and then create this cluster automatically from the stack file we just uploaded earlier. So machines are here. We can go back in the resource manager. Meanwhile, don't forget, if you want to test, there is MySQL database service, which is also available now in OCI. So let's see, resource manager, stacks. Of course, it's still in progress. And we can go to the end. You see, it's installing the software it needs to do that. The software, it's of course MySQL server. 3 minutes already. And it will also configure the instances. So it will make some changes in the configuration of the system. It will also create that cluster and add the instance in the cluster. All that it's automated through the shell on the Bastion host to do that. So now it's just a question of patience. So we can see, yeah, it's installing a shell. Here we can see in this case that we had some variable changed, right? And so all that it's doing, it's already adding instances. If let's say you have a cluster and you add an instance later and you have already data in your cluster, it will just clone the data, make the provisioning automatically, and that will work without any problem. So yeah, no need to go over there. So let's see. We can see, okay, so the first one should be done, the cluster should be created, and now it's adding the one. You can see here, for example, that it's waiting the clone to be finished, so it's cloning all the data. And at the end of the process, you will have a cluster running and a shell machine to connect to. It's completed, it's finished successfully. So it took approximately, how long? Let me see if we have the time somewhere. Not here. It was a bit more than 4 minutes, I guess. Yeah, 4 minutes and 40, so less than 5 minutes to deploy the full cluster, 3 nodes, and the shell. So we can see these are the IPs here for the private IPs of the MySQL instances, the private IP of the shell in the public subnet, the public IP of the shell machine, and here it's a SSH key if you want to connect in SSH to that Bastion host, because you didn't provide any, it create it for you and then it give it to you. If you need that SSH key, for example, you can always find it. So this one, go back to the stacks. So I go in MySQL IDC. You see, we can take the job that just applied, and here in the output we can copy here the key and then use it to connect using this public IP. Something that we haven't seen here is that, right, it has everything opened, but here you see open router is false, meaning that the Bastion host has an SSH access to it. But if you want to access the MySQL instances by themselves via the router, you can do it if you are inside OCI. Now, if you want to test it, this is not recommended because you will open some port to the world. But if you really want to test it like that, you could open the router here, and meaning that you could connect from your machine to your InnoDB cluster in OCI. Let me see how we can do that. So we will go in the stacks again. We will here edit the variable. We will go in open router and we will say yes. This time I want to open the router. Save so we can see open router is true. Save the change. We can or plan or apply. Let's apply it directly. So now it will see what are the difference between what it's deployed already in OCI and what we really want to have deployed. So what we really want to have deployed now, it's exactly the same, but with one extra is that we need to open the router to outside. So the system will verify that, and the Terraform will see that it has to do some change, and it will do the change. It will perform the change for us. It's a very fast operation, faster than the log to start, so it should be very quickly done. It's already finished. You can see it succeeded. So meaning this time we can connect. So we will go in variables here, and not in output, sorry, and we will use this public IP, right? So let me open a terminal. So now we will connect to that public IP. We just copy it and we use one of the port open, so on the router. And in my case, I will use X protocol. And so you connect. First time you will provide a password. I already did. And now you do, for example, up. You can see here that we are connected and our all nodes are online. And now I can do everything I want in my cluster that it's now in OCI. So as you can see, it was very easy, 5 minutes to deploy MySQL InnoDB Cluster in OCI using the resource manager and the stacks. So please test it, enjoy it, and send me your feedback. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.